Hi there and welcome to Central Online. We have a real treat for you today. We've got the life story of Betty Jack. Betty is a legend in the life of the church, and if you admire her already, then after watching this you'll admire her even more. She's a seriously strong woman who's endured a lot in her life, and she has kept God in her life throughout all of that. And it really is an amazing story that will encourage you. But before that, Lisa's just going to quickly pop on and give us a few announcements of how you can help the community, how you can help Fraserburgh during this Christmas season, and then we'll just hear from you.
Well, here we are, and it's less than 3 weeks until Christmas. Can you believe it? And here at Central, our community things are getting going again. On Eventbrite, we have got the Giving Tree and we've got food hampers. Last year, we were able to give parcels to over 300 children, and 163 households received a food hamper at Christmas time. What a difference that made to families. And here we are again, 2021, looking for your help. On Eventbrite, there are tags for the Giving Tree and for the food hampers. If you are able to go on, download a tag, maybe to help a single adult at Christmas time, maybe to help a family, and bring your tags along, bring your food parcels and your Giving Tree parcels along on by the 12th of December. We also have this Christmas a Share and Care Christmas dinner. So we're not going to be doing our Christmas dinner at the church because of COVID. Instead, we're asking you to care and to share with families in our community who don't have it Christmas time. I'm looking for people who are able to go and to share the Christmas dinner, to provide a plate, maybe with the starter, the main course and dessert, and to knock on somebody's door at Christmas time so that they have a good conversation on Christmas Day, and to give them their Christmas dinner. So if you're willing to partner with us, please email ineed@aogcentral.co.uk or phone the church or get in contact with myself, and we'll partner you with another household. We've got people on their own at Christmas time, we've got families, we've got couples, and we'd love for you to join us to care and to share for our community, for those who don't have, especially on Christmas Day. So if you can help with us at all, please get in contact with the church and let's see how big a difference we can make in our community this Christmas.
Well, Betty, it's great to have you here. And last December, one of the main things that we did was the pandemic that stole Christmas, and your message was how we kind of ended it, and it was really, really powerful, really hit our hearts. And so we just want to, but it was only a short version of what Christmas meant to you, and I'm really privileged today that we're going to get more of your life story, your incredible life story today. So thank you, Betty, and welcome. It's good to see you. Thank you. It's good to see you. So, in these life stories, we've been asking, and we're almost getting sick asking, what folk likes to eat during a lockdown, and it's not even lockdown anymore. But during this whole pandemic thing, many people's favourite food was something that you'd made. I can for myself. It was a mascarpone sponge, which now I used to take in for the Barons, and they didn't ken what it was, so they wouldn't take it. But Sienna has now discovered it, and she's addicted to it like me, and she calls it macaroni or mascaroni sponge, but she's always asking for more, so I can't even get the good of it now without them. But I would ask you, is there anything that you've made or cooked or at during this time that's kind of been, you've discovered it and it's been part of your classic menu now, or?
I didn't really think so. Apart from shortbread, I seem to make shortbread all the time. And
scones.
I rice somebody getting a bag of shortbread or something.
So you did not take a time to sort of create new things, just...
No, I'm a creature of habit, really.
Stuck with what you know, the classics. Aye.
Yes.
Aye. And have you ever eaten it yourself when you're gone?
No.
You're very disciplined like that, yeah?
I just never eat it, Ken.
Aye.
I'm very savoury, Ken.
Oh, you're not a sweet tooth?
I'm not really a sweet tooth, no, Ken. But
I like both.
I do, occasionally I like her.
So, I wanted to ask you because I kind of started to ken you in the sort of the going into late 80s, with Ken and Elizabeth and Helen and that. But we've always known you, and especially in the church, New Abdi would ken you as a woman of God, a spiritual influence, just somebody that we can look up to in every way in faith. But were you always an angel, or was there another side from you when you were younger? Let us ken what life was like for Betty Jack growing up.
Well, I wasn't an angel, no way. Probably was just a normal child, rough and ready, and I game for a laugh or game to do something it wasn't supposed to be done. I was an only child, brought up with my mum and dad.
Is that in Gamery?
In Gamery,
Aye.
aye. Born in Banff and brought up in Gamery.
Yep.
My mum came from Portnocky, my dad was for the village. And I went to school and just did my normal thing, but as my teenage years grew up, I was quite rebellious.
Were you brought up in a meeting up there?
Brought up in a meeting, aye.
Close meeting or?
Well, it was a close meeting, aye. And went to meeting along my mum and dad. Probably left quite a false life, really, because I went to the meeting on a Sunday, but I wouldn't say it really had any impact on my life, really. It just wasn't something it was for me at that point in time. I enjoyed going out to my chums, different chums, enjoyed coming to the Broch and just did a thing that I wasn't supposed to do. Ended up in a relationship which probably wasn't really good for me, and because of that relationship I became pregnant, and my mum and my dad didn't want me to bide in a relationship, and my dad said, look, I want you to just bide here and I'll look after your child.
Did you have a good relationship with your?
I had a good relationship with my dad. I loved him so much. I like it my mum, but I really loved my dad, Ken.
And he was a fisherman?
He was a fisherman, came to sea all his life. But he had a lovely garden. He loved the garden and grew all his own vegetables, and he had bees. We got honey. So he liked it. Well, what could I say, gardening side. He was probably more a farmer than a fisherman, although he get to sea to make a living. So it was it was 1966.
And sorry, so you fell pregnant, but your folks, they supported you through it?
Very much so. And I mean, at that point, he could have easily had an abortion if you wanted, but I couldn't do it. And I am so happy now because I've got a lovely daughter and 2 lovely grandchildren, which I really love very much. And it was really good, very good of my dad when I look back, because I had obviously let him down. But that was how he wanted it, and he loved her very much. But things didn't work out well, because on the 3rd of January 1968 there was a storm and my dad's boat was lost at sea, and all the crew were lost as well. Young men. My dad was 59, but there was one young boy in that boat. It was in my class at school.
Really?
So there was young men and all men, you can. They did locate a wreck. There was never any bodies recovered. So it was really a sad time in my life, because I loved him. But I always remember, before my dad had died a year before, which was 1967, Billy Graham had a live link crusade to the Capitol Theatre in Aberdeen, and this couple invited me to go in to hear him. It was a Sunday night. And I was saved. I took the Lord into my life then, and probably looking back, it was the best thing that ever I did. because I had,
Definitely.
I wouldn't say my relationship was as good then as it is now, but he was there for me.
Aye.
And then when my dad was lost, I remember this man giving me this text, and it was Isaiah 43. Fear not, I have redeemed you. I have called you by the name, you are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And I've kept that for all my life, because it's really true. Whatever circumstance you go through, he is there always. And he never leaves you, never forsakes you. I wouldn't say if I looked in his eye, because their circumstances maybe changed a bit, but he was always there. Okay. So life just went on, and I had a friend called Eleanor who lived next door to Billy's brother Jam, and I used to go into Eleanor's on a Sunday night, and after our man had gone to what to see, because he left early, because he fished in Clash, we went into Billy's brother Jam's for a fly cup.
And just to explain, most folk will ken Billy, but somebody that doesn't,
Aye.
Billy
Well,
became your man.
Billy
so-
became my husband, and it was through probably going to Jam's house, because Billy's wife sadly died with cancer in 1969.
69, aye.
So he was left with 3 boys. And then on a Sunday night, he used to come down to his brothers for a cup of tea. And Eleanor and I went there for a fly cup. So I had always known him, but a friendship arose because of that. And then in 1970, Billy and I got married, 19th of December 1970. So it was quite a traumatic time, Christmas time and wedding and all the rest of it, and flit into a new house, and a lot of things took place.
So you had 3 boys.
I had 3 boys, aye.
And a girl.
Alexander and William and George, Billy had. And George was just a year and 10 months old when his mum died, so his sister had looked after him. And after we got married, Billy very graciously left George with his sister. It was hard, but it was just what happened.
Aye.
And then I was just 23, and here was me in a new house, a new man, and a new family, and a dog.
You got a dog as well.
With a puppy as well, a corgi. And so it was quite a mad house for a wee while. But we had a good relationship, and the boys they were just boys, but they took me into their life, and I took them into my life, and our life had a great relationship with them, you can.
Aye.
Still have, with Alexander, you can. So it was just life for a wee while, and then after we were married for 2 years, I fell pregnant, and sadly, at 5 months I had a miscarriage, which again was quite traumatic for me. And but however, a following year, in 1973, I had Elizabeth. And Elizabeth was born, which is something I could never understand. I just said, God, you're amazing, really. She was actually born on the very same day as Billy's wife had died, 11th October. She died on 11th October 1969, and Elizabeth was born on 11th October 1973. And it was so God had taken, but yet had given something back. Okay.
Aye.
And then the following year, I had Helen, and we had a happy home, you can, and the boys were a bit older, so they just adored the girls, you can. They really worked a lot with them, you can.
Aye.
They were spoiled, I would say, actually. But they had a good relationship with one another, you can. So it was 5 children, and I was 27 with 5 children.
And a corgi.
Never mind, and a corgi, and a dog. So we had a happy house, and had a caravan, did a lot of caravan holidays. Children will still tell you about them yet, because we had so much fun. We did so many stupid things.
Aye.
And however, life was good.
Happy times.
Aye, happy times. Billy got away to fishing, and I looked after the children. We come home and we did something at the weekend, went somewhere, did something. Swimming pools was a big thing at that time. Huntley was the nearest one for us.
Really?
So we used to go to Huntley, to the swimming pool, you can.
Aye.
But of course, life throws up some funny turns. And in December 1984, William got away to do his Christmas shopping, him and his girlfriend, and had a car accident on the way home, which was really sad. He never regained consciousness. He was put on a life support machine, and they took him off the machine. Well, they left him on for a week. He was in for 7 days. Now, during that time, I remember walking through the hospital, Billy and I, and Billy says, I really dunno, I think they're keeping William alive for something. So I would say the next that we'll get, they'll be asking if we'll donate some of his organs.
Okay.
And of course, I remember saying, well, Billy, if they could give William a new brain, I would take it. So maybe we should do something. So William's kidneys were donated to somebody who, I don't know, but he was a very clean living boy. He was a Christian. I always remember a policeman saying to me, would he been drunk?
Oh, I did ask if he'd drunk.
He asked me if he was drunk, and I says no. He wouldn't have been drunk. He probably had been gone too fast. But I says he wasn't drunk, because he didn't drink. So they kept him living on it, and the 17th of December, they switched off the machine. And then he was taken home to the house, and the 19th of December, which was Billy and I's wedding anniversary, which was really quite hard. And then his funeral was on the 21st. So Christmas has never, we've held Christmas, but it's always been a difficult time, because he loved Christmas. I remember putting up a Christmas tree on the 10th to say he was going to want to see at night. And I put up a tree so that he would see it before he went away to fishing. And I said, I'll put on the lights when he comes home. But they never arrived home, so the lights were never on a tree out here. Okay. And when I put it up, I think about him every time I put the tree up, okay? Because he loved Christmas. In fact, a boot of his car was full of Christmas presents, okay? And he'd been doing his Christmas shopping. And a boot of his car was full of Christmas presents.
And he was only 21.
He was 21,
And
it was really...
it's affected. You can still feel it on the
I
farm
still
like
can.
and
although I wasn't his mum, I had looked after him for
most of his life.
a lot of his life, really. And but I love the relationship, you can. He was when they were at home, their bedrooms were like a tip, you can. And I always remember going up and me moaning and groaning. And I always remember one day I went up and he just took me by the shoulders and turned me around about. He says, now, could you just leave his bedrooms till we go and we'll get on fine together? If you just leave a mess and just forget it. We didn't come up a stair to our bedrooms as long as we were at home. So it was more or less what happened, and then he just had to clear up after all it went again. However,
still memories after
a lot of
30
memories.
years.
A lot of memories. I was just, in fact, I've been reminiscing over it. I remember Willie McCree was actually singing in this hall here. And,
I remember that.
eh?
I remember that.
You remember
it
that?
was parked.
Well, in a video, there's actually William was sitting here
Oh, really? Oh, in the side bit?
in
that
the
used to
side
be-
bit.
Oh, okay.
Him and his girlfriend, he can.
Aye.
And mine and get in a video after he can, and he
Okay.
was there, he can. So lots of memories of things that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a lovely girlfriend. She was a Christian as well. She was a nurse. Heather, she's in America now, he can.
Aye.
And that would have been his wife, I think, really, if it.
Yep. Aye.
But we plan, but God guides, and we just have to. However, it's not always plain sailing, and at that point, I was so angry at God because I just thought He didn't answer my prayer. I'd asked something, and I'd said, "Look, he'd get on, look after him, Lord," and He didn't. He didn't to come back here, me can. But however, he was a Christian. He was the only one in my house that was really ready to meet the Lord. And when we were going through his things, after it'd been the following year, we came across a letter that had come back for a message in a bottle. It came from a lass in Orkney had picked it up and sent
He
it
used
back.
to put messages
He
in bottles.
put messages
aye.
in bottles all the time, that's what he did. He used to tear off, it was a Choice Gleanings calendar they had in the boat, and he used to tear off the calendar and just write a message on it.
Put it in a bottle and throw it over
Aye,
the side
throw it
and
down
see
the
if it
side,
went.
aye, fire it
Okay,
went.
aye. That's amazing. So if it was a message came
And
back.
the message that came back was, the calendar they put a text that came out, it was, "Today thou shalt be with me in paradise," and his name was written underneath it. And that was quite an emotional find,
Yes.
but it was also very comforting,
Aye.
because it was
You
very
ken for
worse.
You knew that he was with the Lord.
Aye, he was with the Lord.
Aye. What a
Although I
confirmation.
really wouldn't have wanted him to be there at that point in time, but God has his own plans and we cannot change him.
So you were saying you struggled.
I'd struggled,
with the Lord, with just feeling he was not listening to
I
prayer.
didn't listen to my, and for 2 years almost, I would say I went through just a spiritual wilderness. And I used to say to Billy, I'm not going to pray because I didn't think he's not listening to me. Ken.
I think a lot of people would feel that. But, looking back, do you feel he was there?
I'm sure he was. I'm sure he was. Ken, I'm sure he was.
And how did that turn around then, Betty? Because obviously we can feel like new and how much faith you've got. So was it a 2 or 3 years? Was it?
Well, what happened was Bill and him had a boat that they'd bought for Holland, and they were fishing well, but interest rate at that time was 17 plus 2 for business, which was a lot of money. It's almost 20%. And they were just meeting bank payments in Nemea. And then one day they were coming in for the Turbid Bank, and they had a big shot of haddocks, and they struck a submerged object and knocked their gearbox right up. They really made a mess in that job to get a gearbox. So at this time, when the boat was lying, tied up, there was no money going to the bank.
No.
Because they were just keeping their head up in the water, as you would say, in Nemea. So the bank asked boats to be sold, but of course, if I wants to buy a boat, it's not repaired. However, they did get a boat. They got it up a slab and got a gearbox ordered for it. It took a long time because it had to come from Holland, and it was a complicated story. And during that time, we got a letter. One day we got a letter from the bank, and it wasn't really very favourable towards us. And I'm not really a material-minded person, but I thought, right, Lord, am I going to lose my house? And it was a horrible day. I remember it was pouring rain, and I thought, right, I need to clear my head and get out to think just this through, because far am I going to go if I think that I have is going to be Tina Wa. Aye, materially. And I got a wide in the road and blind in the gutter was this calendar ticket. It was wheat, but I left it and I read it, and it was, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Well, when I left it, it just broke me, and he wouldn't have cared if it was tears and if it was rain. So I just turned and walked back up a brae to my house, and I just used to be like, oh my goodness, I have just been so stubborn. I says, come on, being a houseman, we'll go on our knees. And I said, I just need to ask the Lord to forgive me.
Okay.
And just thank him as a refuge and strength for me. And we did, the two of us went to our knees together and prayed. And God came in a marvellous way. I mean, I'm not going to get into it because it would be a lengthy story, because it was an amazing way he came in and just lifted us right out of the miry clay, he would say, and set our feet up on a rock. Okay? And never looked back after that, he can.
Yeah.
So it was really,
brilliant.
God is good, Ken. Fear not, I have redeemed you, Ken. I'd say a following year, Alexander got married, and then we had our first grandchild. He was born in 1997. I think he was born.
1997.
Am I right?
87.
No, 87, no.
I hope I'm not marking all of them years.
No, he was born in 1987, you're right. Aye, Alexander. He was, aye, and of course, Billy he just thought the world of him, like he just was, even before he died, the Queen used to say, oh yes, it's your golden child. So it was really, it was quite a, and I knew it, he really loved him. I wouldn't say he loved him more than the rest of them, but it just had a special relationship with him, like, and Alexander could do no wrong, Ken. They just had a bond, which was just there until he died, so it was great. So then the rest of our family just grew up and got on with their life, really, Ken. And then in 2002, we went to the Philippines. And while we were there, Mark had said to us, would you make soup for the prisoners? And would you paint the prison? So, of course, they painted the prison. But where we met in David, Billy's sister and our mom, and painted the prison, and I made a big pot of soup, 2 big pots of soup, chicken and rice. And we went and fed the prisoners. And it really did something in Billy's heart that he thought, right, could we do something at home to show God's love to other people? So the following year, we started to do a soup and sweet in the church.
In the church. So, just to lay the background for that, you were involved with the Braehead Church.
Aye,
in
Gamebray.
For many
years. Aye.
Just to go back just a wee bit, so in Braehead,
he retired. He retired in 1997.
So you were very involved with the meeting at that time.
And
so
also, Sonny Brae was just getting going, and Billy did a lot of work at Sonny Brae, and did a lot of painting and decorating, and also he used to go away with a pot of soup to the five hours there. He would have made soup and tea at
that's right,
So he was on for food. He used to say, a Salvation Army folk feeds their folk first before they tell them about the Lord. So I think it's a good idea.
Was the same. Feed him first.
Feed him first.
Aye. And so he would have been doing up from, Sonny Brae was getting done up, wasn't it? 2001, 2002, that kind of time.
And
he would have fed the troops at
work. He did.
As well as working in the place. So So then Philippines, and then as kind of heart and kind of vision to say, right, let's do the soup and sweets in the church, and they were legendary.
They were
just
really, Ken.
absolutely
I remember one day
renowned.
looking out and they were queuing up a road, because there was none a bray. And I remember Billy saying, "Phew, isn't it sad that they weren't queuing for the gospel? Wouldn't it be nice if you saw them queuing for the gospel?"
Aye. But it made it
We made a lot of money for different
amazing
causes.
causes,
Aye, Ken.
especially locally. Ken.
Locally, aye.
We,
Did for Sunny Bray.
Sunny Bray, Benaya,
And Benaya, and just, I think it was really needed near, you can.
Yep.
They did it, you can, and different missionaries and
Missionaries, Solid Rock, just
Ken.
so many things that it input into a lot of years.
it was really, Ken.
Aye.
It was amazing the support that we got,
Aye.
Ken. It was really good. And your mum, I put it on to prayer calendar as well.
Aye, it was
So
lots of, it was well promoted.
It was well promoted, aye. So it was good, really, Ken, and it was fine. And then in 2005, Billy took a heart attack. It didn't stop him from doing the soup and sweets. He maybe wasn't quite so able as fit he would have been, but it didn't really stop him doing the soup and sweets. Ken.
But it was a massive heart attack.
Aye, it was, and he'd damaged his heart so badly that they couldn't really do anything. He would have really needed a new valve.
Aye.
And until he died, it had a leaking valve. He and they couldn't repair it because they couldn't get into his heart. He can.
Okay.
However, I didn't stop him from doing what he wanted to do. Really, he can.
Aye.
His health wasn't really the best, but
No, but I never helped him to.
it just overcame and if it was for a Lord and if there was a meeting, he was there. Whether he was able or not, it was just the kind of person he was.
Oh, he just went full tilt.
He did.
And I came another he didn't it because he was in a stop and that, and then he was back and he
he got a stint in. But in 2006, if he was a wee bit better, and we went to Ireland for a long weekend with Elma and James McClay. And during that weekend, we had gone to Whitewell Tabernacle on a Sunday. And they had announced that there was going to be baptisms on Monday. And Billy says, "Oh, we'll go." I'm saying, "Okay." And they were all keen to go, but when push came to shove, I really wasn't keen on going because I hate when I'm on holiday to rush my food, you can, and we had to have our supper at 6 and to be there for 7. And I'm saying, if Elma and James hadn't been with us today, Billy, I wouldn't have gone because it's too big a rush. And he just briefly said, "Just eat your supper and we'll just go." So away we went, and Jim McConnell had a lovely message about baptism.
Aye.
And at that point, I had worked with the youth in the church because there was quite a lot of youth came along to church, and I was conscious that I couldn't tell them about believer's baptism because I had never been baptized as a believer. I was baptized as a child in the faith of my parents, and but I knew within my heart that there's no all believers in the New Testament were baptized, and I wasn't. But however, well, I listened to the message, and then I put forward an appeal, and everybody else it wanted to be baptized, and of course, up my hand went. And I'm saying, "Oh my goodness!" And I remember him coming up with a mic and just saying, "So you want to be baptized? When were you saved?" And I said, 40 years ago. I felt so embarrassed. Okay.
And did the folk
clap
so, and accept that? I bet they did. There'd been a lot of folk here.
Hey, Paul was packed. It was really, there must at least have been about, well, upstairs probably hadn't been right full, but there must have been about 400 or 500 folk at that weekend.
Aye. Wow. So great baptism plug. Just a little plug. We're having baptisms January, I think. So if somebody's listening.
So Sister Billy, you'll just to take my home in the car with my wheat clays. I'm sorry.
So you weren't prepared?
I wasn't prepared for
You
bathing.
didn't have any change of
No,
clothes,
no
right?
change of clothes. So they gave me a robe and I hadn't even a hairbrush. I was like a scarecrow. Okay. And never mind. There was actually 54 folk baptised.
Really?
Aye,
Wow.
I did. That
That's
night.
amazing.
Ken, it was just amazing, like you can. And I felt so good because I did something that I felt God had been challenging my way for a while, like Ken.
What a step of
But
faith. And you were wanting to bide for your supper and they go.
I didn't have to go, Ken. So it was really, I came away from there in a high, I would say, Ken. It was just like another step that God had guided me through.
So life went on and your
Life
faith
went
is
on.
growing and growing.
Growing and growing.
I always remember you as being very involved with and so committed and devoted to Gamely and seeing the Lord move in Gamely. And I remember I used to speak to Billy about it and the heart you had for a place in
I
that.
really wanted
you
to
saw that,
see
yeah.
it, but it didn't work out. And well, I mean, it was Abdi was older and Billy's health was failing a bit, you can. Although you wouldn't have thought that after we came to Fraserburgh to bide, to be quite honest with you. Well, Billy had took Newell and it was 2012. He really was off a poor line. I didn't think he was going to survive because I laughed about it after because he took us, had got in 2 stents, and then he got in a third, and the third really got too big a blood supply to his heart, and his heart wasn't able to cope with it again. So he took us, it was a Monday night, and I remember we were actually to prayer meeting, and this funny feeling came out of his body, and so there's something awful happening to me. You need to phone the doctor. So I said, right, can we get him? So we went home to the house, and I phoned to NHS. And they said, we'll put out a GDoc. So they were late in coming, and he said, I think I'll just go to my bed. But it was about 10 o'clock when my phone rang, and this was a GDoc saying it. He was looking for our house. So I said, I'll open the front door. So the car was across the road, so the doctor came in and checked him out, and I said, well, I'm not really sure how your heart reading is, but he said, it doesn't look that bad. So he was just going to want to go. In fact, he just had his hand on his doctor's bag and Billy took a massive seizure. And he says, oh, this man needs to go to hospital. So he was phoning and struggling to get a bed. And then he took another and he says, I'm sorry, he's coming. I'm just going to phone for an ambulance. So after he had phoned for an ambulance, phoned to hospital, he was sitting and a photograph of William and his girlfriend was on the mantel shelf, and he said, is this your son? And Billy says, aye, it is. He says, but unfortunately he was killed in a car accident. So he says, it reminds me of somebody I know. And I thought, something in me said, I says, are you a Christian doctor? And he says, yes, I am. Now, I ken Dr. Harvey, but I didn't ken Dr. Dillon, but it was the same person, Harvey Dillon, because Mark, he used to go to the Philippines and take out medicine and work with the Filipinos out in Far Marquez. Did a lot of work out there. And he says, I'm going to stay with you till the ambulance comes. And then he said, can I pray with you, William? And he put his hand on his shoulder. And I'll never forget it. It just made the hair. In fact, it took tears to my eyes, actually. I'm just a doctor, Lord, but you are the great physician. Ken, and I'll never forget that words. And he went on and he prayed for Billy and he stayed with him until the ambulance came.
Aye.
And then it was just later that I realised that it was the same doctor. It was Dr. Harvey. Ken.
Aye.
So he went into hospital and he was really quite poorly, but they didn't do anything for him, but he came back home and struggled to a very, very poor health for, I would say, at least 3 or 4 months till I had to phone for an ambulance one night, and he went away, and I didn't think he was going to make it, because I mean, even they couldn't leave a drive, because whenever they wired him up to the machines, I think bells were all ringing because his heart rate was doing so low. So eventually they gave him a pacemaker, but during that time, I just didn't think there's no way I could make it. And I remember coming home from the hospital one night especially and planning his funeral, because he laughed about it after. He says, I'm not dead yet, but he have planned my funeral. Because I just didn't think he was going to make it till morning, really, because he was so poorly when I left him. But however, he did, and he got in his pacemaker, and I remember after he got it in, they just phoned and said, no, he can come home now. We come for him a day. So I remember going in and meeting us. It was a Dr. Patel. Met him in the hallway. I said, Mrs. Jack, you won't recognise your husband. You've got a new man. Ken, and his heartbeat had gone from 30 up to 57. So it was. So it really gave him quite a new lease of life again. Had a machine at the side of his bed. It was wireless, and they picked it up in Aberdeen if there was any problems.
Amazing.
So it was really, it's great for modern medicine. Is really can really give folk a lot of help.
Yeah.
However, then in 2014 we sailed to our house in Gamera, and we moved to the Broch, because in my mind I thought, right, I'm now wanting my girls travelling in the winter time. If we need care and attention, we'll go nearer where they are, because Helen was in Rosehart and Elizabeth was in Rathen, and Shona was, well, she's nearer Peterhead, Aberdeen. So it was just nice to be far they were, so that they hadn't to run and attend to us, really, But I mean, he just loved being in the Broch, and he loved being part of the church.
Well, that's it. Gamera's loss was all again when you Billy came. And to be part of the church family here, and never looked back.
He just loved it.
Oh, I've never seen him do appreciate. You've seen folk come back and appreciate church after lockdown, but Billy didn't need that. He appreciated the house of the Lord, and he would always say, we're getting a feast here. He appreciated so much, everything, and
he loved it.
Everybody appreciated him as well. And
one of his highlights had come into the Broch, and I used to say to him, Billy, it was worth us coming if it was just for one soul. The old man across the road had befriended him, and he came to ken the Lord as his saviour when he was 82 again. And he
witnessed
Abdi. He really just loved the Lord, and he wanted Abdi to love him, and that was just what he wanted again. And I used to say, Billy, he can't make folk believe. He can't make folk believe. He wanted to tell. He really wanted to tell.
And he used to go with his
Bibles.
two Bibles, one for himself to read together.
And in all the bits that he was going to read, mark it in his yalla. He had him underlined with the yalla pens that he had, his marker pens. He loved the Lord very much, and in spite of all the struggles that he had in life, the Lord was just so precious to him, I would say.
And he still served the Lord.
Right until he died, he loved the Lord, It was just...
I mean, I remember the Alpha males group that we did, and they just absolutely loved him and adored on his words. He would always end the night with wisdom. And amazing, because the different levels of the guys either had no faith or no sure, or even the ones that did have faith but needed a bit of encouraging. Everybody just looked for Billy.
I was going to say,
at the end, and then he made food for everything. I remember, I mean, none of us guys will forget. I was still speaking to somebody on Saturday just past, just a few days ago, about the influence and the things that we'll never forget in that meal.
Aye,
that
to
you
made for him.
instructed. And our son, we were having a Monday night get together, and I thought, well, Billy was out, was Graham, my brother-in-law was I was bantering with Billy about he got sausage rolls.
That's right, aye.
He had a special kind of connection going, and everybody else was wanting a sausage rolls. So I, after a morning meeting here, said to Billy, well, is there any food we could bring? He just says, we'll do something fine, we'll put on something nice. And yourself and Billy spent the hair, must have been went home and just started marking food. And made I can't was it a 5 or 6 course meal, and the guys were just absolutely blown away. And I thought the meal was just out of this world, like, you know what I mean?
Lovely.
And but even more than the food was the servant heart that Ewan said. And I remember after it, when they were all speaking to us, he tidied everything up, just served, and how happy and blessed that you and Billy felt because you were able to serve. That touched me even. Well,
He had a servant's heart. Billy had a servant's heart.
It was just unreal. And so it was February.
It was February, lockdown.
Just near lockdown a few weeks. And then obviously.
Well, it was lockdown was just in the March because it was really a bad year for me because two of my very good friends died just before Billy. One was Eleanor, who had been my friend all my life. And the other one was Anne, which was a cousin of Billy's. And
so it was end of March?
Well, Eleanor died on the 10th of March.
10th of March, aye.
And then
Peter Tate that was in the office.
That's right, same time, aye. And then Billy took Naywheel and died on the 1st of April.
1st of April.
Okay. So it
was devastating.
Aye.
So how,
it is devastating.
Ken, you've had it before in your life, 20 times with grief like that, so if it was a difference this time because we've seen
it was just, I mean, Billy and I had a wonderful life together with a great relationship, you can. And he used to laugh because every day he'd tell me he loved me, every day. Wow. He used to say, you never tell me you love me.
Did you?
And I says, well, I did love you, Billy. I showed I love you, but you never tell me. But he told me every day.
So he spoke.
Really did, aye. But he wasn't one he didn't buy flowers, he didn't buy presents. He just said. Sometimes after my birthday was passed, he would say, "What if I bought you for your birthday this year?"
Would you buy it?
I bought it myself. But did I buy you, you can?
So his love language was the words of affirmation.
Yes.
No, the gifts. But
no.
Aye.
So it was.
How have you coped though? Because we've seen you've just all point of view looking at. You have continued the ministry to folk. You've continued to love folk and witness to folk and be such a blessing. But it must be.
I miss them awful much. I miss them awful much. But my family have been awful good to me. Every one of them. You can. They've been so kind to me in so many different ways. You can. And I appreciate them so much. You can. But again, the Lord has been really off. Probably I've been closer to the Lord since Billy died. Maybe I hadn't really, but it's just been. Every day I say, well, Lord, it's just me and you now. Okay, and so you'll just whatever I'm going through, you'll just guide mine. Give me wisdom.
Yes.
Because
there's something about that daily relationship with the Lord, though, isn't it?
It is.
So
it's just
you're facing each day with
Him in my life. Aye. Fear not, I have redeemed you. Have called you your mine.
Still that scripture,
and I just focus on it. I have doing days and off, which I'm maybe not just as bright as I was, but on the whole, every day,
And it's an inspiration for others. And you've the life group that
had
Val's
a
in, the WhatsApp. It's got Betty's Legends, but I think it's you that's a legend.
It's just amazing. Like I've just had a great. It's just
Isn't it been
unbelievable.
great to see God change so many folks' lives, and you've been.
That has just given me so much joy, so much joy.
Aye,
Ken.
Fantastic.
It really has just for a great year since February. And I mean, I thought Alpha Online, rubbish. But Ken, something, it's just, and it's going for there. And Ken, our group have actually built up a relationship with them that I believe will go on the rest of their life.
So Alpha Online wasn't rubbish.
It wasn't rubbish. It wasn't rubbish.
Aye. And there's more of that happening soon, and I
Definitely.
would encourage folk. But so this is December now. Another December. Again, you shared last year, as I was saying at the start, how difficult December already was because of William, and now facing another
year
with Billy and that. So, but how are you feeling about it? And how well, this is your day, and it's a day. Encouraging and inspiring other folk again. How are you feeling about this next?
Well, it's just
hard time for a lot of folks.
A day at a time.
Yes.
One day at a time.
Aye.
And if you've got the Lord in your life, it's a friend that sticketh closer than a brother, Ken.
Yeah.
And really, that's just how I face every day. And Christmas is a challenge, but I have had a good life, and I've enjoyed it. And I wouldn't like to be morbid for my family around about me, because I have got a joy in here. It's some of them and I got. It's in here.
Fantastic.
And I mean, Billy wouldn't want me to be morbid. He would want me to be promoting Jesus if it's possible at all.
Absolutely.
Because that was just how he lived his life, Ken.
So how can somebody then, if somebody's watching us, how can somebody have that joy and that peace that you can still have, where I think it's happened, and still be a blessing to others? How do you get that relationship?
Well, if you haven't got Jesus in your life, you really need him. Because he is, as a chorus says, he is my everything, he is my all. He is my everything, both great and small. He gave his life for me on Calvary. He is my everything. And that's just it. If you have the Lord in your life, you have everything that you need. He's done so much for us. I mean, he died on the cross of Calvary, rose again. And if it really spurs me on more than anything else, is eternal life.
Yes.
It's near the day. It's something it's going to take me right into eternity till and of course, and I can't how long I have here, but I'll serve him till he takes my home. But it's just something to look forward to, Ken. And it's seeing Jesus. I'll meet him face to face, Ken. Something it's really so precious, Ken. Because he rose for the grave. I too, if it doesn't come and take my home afore a rapture, I will rise out the grave and meet him as well.
It's reminds me on the line of that song, till he returns or calls me home. Here in the love of Christ I stand. And you really do.
I do.
And that's available.
It's available to Abdi.
It's available to everyone through
exactly.
Relationship with
and
with
some
Christ
folk
Jesus.
poo-hoos it, but it's really something. It's just an amazing relationship, and people think that I'll mess that.
And it's what that seasons are about as well. It's about Jesus.
It's Jesus,
and
exactly.
Well,
I was away
that.
yesterday, and I go to see a lady once a month, and she says to me, you'll be feeling it really hard Christmas without Billy. And I said, well, I will, but I'm going to focus on a reason for the season.
Amen.
And that's Jesus. He's a reason. I'll just focus on him.
Well, I hope that people are inspired to be reminded of that, and if one day hasn't found that reason, that they
If they
will
find them.
they'll find them
Yes.
now.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Betty. You are our hero and our inspiration, and we just love you.
Well, I just think I mean, God has done so much for me in my life. And I just want to promote him, really.
And you do.
And I do. Aye.
Thank you. Amen.